guys, Samantha from Jessima Tutorials here, and today I'm going to try out something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and it's been since my resin video where I used the crinkle technique. I'll bring over the donut I made, and here it is. And we just used UV resin here and cling wrap to get this really interesting effect. And I've been sitting here and I've been really wanting to try and get a polymer clay stamp, or at least some kind of stamp that will allow me to achieve this with polymer clay. And that's what I want to do today. Also, I will have a link in the description below to this video. So I've just got a piece of black polymer clay here, and this is Prima. You can use any polymer clay you want, but I'm just using Prima today because I have a lot of this colour at the moment. And it's a little, you might notice it's not completely black, it's just scrap will work for this quite well as well. And I'm just going to be burnishing it between two pieces of paper to get a perfectly smooth surface. And also, if you happen to hear little noises in the background, my cat is currently sharing my chair with me at the moment, as she's not exactly impressed with it, so if you hear her meow in the background, just know that's what's going on. Okay, then I'm just going to cut out the shape of my stamp because I don't want to waste any polymer clay, and you do have to bake the clay before we put the resin on because that is how we're going to be achieving our stamp. So I'm just going to take that, pop that into the oven for a full hour, and then we can start to actually create the pattern. Okay, and there we go. Now it's completely baked. So then I'm just going to take my UV resin. Any UV resin will work. It doesn't have to be the specific brand. I'm just going to open that up. And you are going to be using a bit of the UV resin, quite a bit, because you're covering a fairly large space, and I'm doing quite a thick layer to make sure that I have enough for the stamp. And now if I can, I'm going to have the stamp on my Etsy store, Jessima Design. If I am able to create stamps out of this multiple times, then I will have that linked in the description below. And the stamps that I create will be made from polymer clay. They will not have UV resin on them. Okay. And I'm just going to spread the UV resin around like so, and then we can work on our pattern. Just make sure you have a nice thick layer. Okay. Now I'm doing this on a ceramic tile, and I do expect there to be overflow when I do this, so just bear that in mind. If you don't want overflow, pop it onto a silicone mat. Then I'm just going to take some cling wrap and really bundle that up so that you get lots of crinkles. Now I'm going to undo it a little bit, then I'm going to pop that back onto the surface. And you can see there's going to be overflow, and I'm okay with that. I've anticipated that. And I'm just going to scribble this around. I'm trying to get as much pattern over a small surface as possible, and I also want the pattern to be fairly even. I don't want places where there are a lot, where the raised areas are quite prominent and some areas are very flat. So I am trying to get it even, and I also want to get rid of any really big major air bubbles. Okay, then once you're happy, put that into the UV light for a good 20 minutes because we're going to be using this as a stamp, and so it needs to be completely solid, no sticky bits at all before we use it with polymer clay. So I'll be putting it into the light for a fair bit longer than I would with a normal project, just because I want to make extra sure that it's completely solidified. Okay, so it's been about 20 minutes, and now I'm just going to remove the cling wrap that I can from here. If it sticks, that's perfectly fine, because I ultimately am just going to be using it to get an impression from the polymer clay. So I'm going to remove as much of this as I can, and then the rest, well, that's fine. It's not going to get baked or anything, and so it's perfectly fine to have it on there. Okay, and here it is. I just used a blade to quickly shimmy it up off the tile. Now you can trim off these pieces if you want to. I'm going to keep them because if my clay overflows the stamp a little bit, then I will have a little bit of leeway. And so to test out the stamp, see how it looks, I've got a piece of black here that's just been rolled out on my thickest setting, and I've covered it in a bit of cornstarch so that it doesn't stick. And I would not recommend using a roller with this because it's quite uneven, as you can see there. And so I'm going to end up pressing this in just with my hands, and we'll see how it ends up looking. And this might be a complete disaster, but I do want to see how it looks. And it actually comes out looking quite nice. Now I do feel like my clay was a little thin there because some of the high points you can see dug into the clay quite a bit and ended up marring the back. So I'm going to make this a little thicker, about twice my thickest setting, and then we can see how it ends up looking, because there are areas where I feel like I've missed. And there we go. That's the exact same thing, just with a thicker piece of clay this time, and it worked out much better. I was missing quite a bit of that texture. So I'll actually be cutting this out, and I'm going to use this as a stamp as well, because the UV resin is not brilliant for a stamp long term because it does end up kind of cracking a bit. So I'm going to end up baking this and then making another, bake it for about an hour, then impress another piece of clay so that you end up with this texture again, and then you bake that for another hour, and then you end up with two stamps, and I will show you that when I finish baking them. Okay, and here they are out of the oven. So this was the original one that I stamped into our UV piece. Then took a piece of clay, rolled it out, and this is that clay, and I've baked it. So now I've got a innie and an outie stamp, so basically a reverse. And here are just two pieces of clay that I've rolled out on each. This one belongs to that one belongs to that one. And now I'm going to actually show you how they look, because the black's a little hard to see. So I've just got some gold mica powder here, and obviously if you're going to do this you could make a project with it. I'm not going to be doing that today just because this video has been running on a little long already, so I'm not going to be doing that. I'm just going to show you how it looks on each of them. And yeah, you can see that it creates a really beautiful effect. It reminds me of sari ribbon quite a bit. But yeah, if you want to do this texture stamp on your own, you most certainly can, as I have shown you the process. But if you want to purchase it, I will have it on my Etsy store. There is a link in the description below if you're interested in it. But yeah, it creates a really nice effect. And so yeah, if you like this video, please do consider leaving a like and subscribing. Around 70% of you actually aren't subscribed, so please do consider that, as I do post videos almost every single day on this channel now. And as you can see with this one, I show tips and trick videos, I show tutorials, I do shorts, all sorts of things, and so you don't want to miss those. If you have suggestions for future videos, please do leave those in the comments, and if you have questions, also leave them down below. I will try to get to them as quickly as possible. And again, thank you for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.